Mic check, 1, 2.
Tom, use your word.
Hey, you.
That's original freedom.
I'd like to welcome everyone to today's episode of the Original Freedom Podcast. Hope you're well wherever you are, whatever time of day it is. Got Tom here and Nate here, and today we're going to spend some time talking about personal freedom. And talking about it not from any nationalistic standpoint or governmental standpoint yet. Freedom itself. What is it at the personal level? What have Tom and I and Nate been through as it relates to being free versus dependent, which is the opposite, right? It's not even so much as not being dependent upon the outside world for happiness, for money, for acceptance, for validation, for anything, right? What does it take to be free from all of that and to live as an expression of full human potential and continue to expand? And I know for me early on in life, I didn't know I wasn't free at times. I wouldn't have described to you my way. I would have said I was miserable. I would have said I was in a tough spot between a rock and a hard place. I would have said a lot of different things, but I never would have said, I'm just not free right now. That's why I'm not happy. I'm just not free right now. That's why I'm not centered. That's why I'm discontent, right? So it's taken us the last, God knows, cumulative how many years of success and failures and good decisions, bad decisions and choices to land us in a place where we can talk about freedom from a new perspective. And that being someone who is at choice in their life at all times, choosing who they are, why they are, where they are. And if given the option to, in a moment, wiggle their nose and be somewhere else, they wouldn't. It's like, no, I would choose to be right here. And if I can say that in every moment in my life, then I'm free.
Yep.
In my professional life, in my personal life, in my romantic relationships, like, am I choosing all of these different places that I spend my time, people I spend with, right? Or am I unknowingly in a cage, right? And the analogy that you use and do so well that relates to that, I think, is what helps people see it. So if you drop that one.
So the story that I heard is the two different things is like, hey, the truth will set you free, or the truth will make you free. And it's like, first of all, it's like, hey, what's the difference? And I'd never even thought of that question. Like, okay, yeah, I'd heard both, but I'd never really put any much thought to it. And so on the first example of the truth will set you free, is that you got a bird that's in a cage, and if you wanted to set the bird free, you open the door of the cage, the bird sees that the door is now open, and it flies out, and that, hey, that's wonderful, now I'm free. The thing about it is, though, if the bird decided that it wanted to be back into the cage, it can fly right back in that door that was open. And then the other example is that if it's made free, or if you want to, make the bird free, is like, hey, you open up the door, the bird goes flying out, and then whenever the bird flies out, you crush that cage, So then the bird is made free. So even if the bird wanted to come back in to that cage, there's absolutely no way.
Yeah, and to me, in that simple analogy, it brings up so much of the human experience, and that there's other analogies, burn the bridges. That's what they were saying at that time without saying it, was they were making themselves free. And to set is very little effort, right? It takes very little effort to open something. It takes a lot of effort to crush something. It's steel. Like, I love the visual with it, of crushing it. And the reason why the bird, now let's think about it, humans, why would I go back to that cage? Well, because the bird has to go out and forage. So now in the human sense, now you have to go out, let's say you have an entrepreneurial ventures, you have to learn a new skill. You have to, so the bird's not getting fed anymore.
Yeah.
The perceived security is gone. And so now it's kind of cold out there. And so now all of a sudden it's like, fuck it, I'm going back in there because I get three hots in a cot and it's comfortable. And I'm back in a cage, and the bird's back in a cage. And you and I had this conversation, and it really rang home. It's even worse for humans, because even if I make myself free from one cage, and let's just say this is an easy one, a bad relationship or a bad job, bad boss, I can make myself free of one, the world will offer up 10,000 other cages that look just like it.
Yeah.
It's just another bad relationship. It's just another bad job. So really crushing the cage means crushing the belief system around these bad situations that I keep putting myself in, right? And to make oneself free requires work. And that's the one thing you and I have both found, is that there's most people in the personal development world, whenever they go to someone looking to develop, and then they want answers.
Yeah.
They don't want more questions. They want answers. They want to be fixed.
Yeah.
Please
tell me
me.
what
Please
to
tell
do.
me what to do and fix me.
Yeah.
And in our experience, it doesn't work real well that way, because back to individuality, and that we're all individuals having our own experiences, different childhoods, different beliefs, different tragedies, different, successes. It's not just going to automatically work. Why would it? I'm not that person. Mm-hmm. Whereas what we have done over a lifetime and tons of reading, writing, talking is figuring out what our cages were.
Yeah.
And coming to find out that our cages were built, and your cages are built on nothing around what your belief systems are. Because the limit of human potential, and that's at an individual level, stops at the end of belief. Mm-hmm. And so understanding why it's important, what I believe around things, and then figuring out if it is a cage or if it is a belief system that serves me.
Right.
In this time, this place, for my family, for my community, whatever it is. That has been at the bedrock and foundation of everything we've talked about ever since, really piecing it all together in the way it's like, hey, cages are not of material form. They're not. They are absolutely in the mind and at an individual level. And then it's been our life's work, whether it be free or paid, to help people expose their own cages, whether around us, and expose what it is that they believe that's keeping them where they are. And it's a place they say they don't want to be. That's the irony of it. Yeah. Is you're out there and it's like, hey, I don't want to be here. Next question. What are you willing to do to get out of it?
No
Are you
answer.
willing to do this? You don't know, you don't have an answer, or you're not willing to take the momentary pain to deal with it. You'd rather take the long-term suffering. Mm-hmm. And I can speak for myself. It's like I've taken a level 4 pain for fucking years. Yeah. I'll take a level 15 spike and then suffer no more.
Right.
And that's every time that spike of pain comes, if freedom's going to occur, it's because there's been a cage been crushed, which means that I've assessed a belief system that I have as no longer serving me. And I'm going to have the courage to say, I'm not going to do it this way anymore. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to choose something else. And for me, these have been the greatest moments of true joy. I didn't say happiness, or really more so centered. Because someone that has that choice isn't happy all the time. They're centered. And I like that analogy, because if I sit at the center and I'm at the center of a sphere, and the sphere represents pure human emotion around me, I have to experience all of it and be centered throughout. I can be happy, I can be sad, I can be all these things. And I understand it, but it's because I'm choosing every aspect of my life. And you and I and Nate have agreed that, in alignment with the mission statement of Original Freedom, is to facilitate that positive change through sharing experience-based wisdom through all of our listenership. That helped us now have created a program called Crushing the Cage. Right, that is now available to be consumed by the masses, which is, I say that out of pure pride, because Tom and I have spent our whole life consulting, and now we're available in the digital platform, so it can be consumed by anyone. And we believe that anyone can consume the material found within Crushing the Cage.
Absolutely. And the thing is about that too is not another dependency model. We're not creating a cage for you. Just like we said, other folks is like, okay, hey, yeah, I want to do what those guys are doing. And, say it's like, yeah, that's not what we're creating. It's that list of questions. It's all the different things that's in the programming that got us to where that we are, principles to live by, all of those different things.
And, say that in a short way is we, Tom and I, know that we don't know what you need.
Yeah.
We don't know what you want. We don't know where you came from. We don't know any of this. And what we do know is we have a methodology of questioning and doing exercises that will help you uncover the things in your life that you need to get rid of. Notice I didn't say get, that you need to get rid of.
Yeah.
And then that's rid of baggage, rid of resentment, rid of guilt, rid of shame, rid of belief systems that were handed down and put upon you and you had no say in it. And now you potentially lack the courage to put your say in. Mm-hmm. It's like, what does it feel like to be free? And we know what it feels like, and literally have created a process that's delivered via video that no doubt we believe if you do it to the letter, right? We're not telling you exactly what you're going to get other than it's going to be positive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other than you're going to learn about yourself. You're going to learn truth about yourself, and it's going to take the responsibility of your life and place it back on your shoulders, which in turn gives you total control of your life. So if you're a control freak, crushing the cage is the way to go for you, because it's going to teach you what you can control, and it's you, and what you can't control, which is the outside world. And so stop being dependent upon them to validate you for your credibility, your worth, any of that, and learn what it feels like to be okay with just being who you are. And part of that process, first off, and what most people don't know, is the answer to that question. They don't know who they are, why they are. They're allowing the outside world to control what that is and where they go. And we believe it's high time that a product be placed out in the hands of consumers that comes from a place of real world experience in this space that gives them a single way of viewing life. They don't have, to your point, they don't have to call us again. They don't have to say anything. Just fucking do the work.
Yeah, and that was principally, that's what we found out through all of it, is that I'm responsible for doing the work. I'm not responsible for the outcome.
Boom. There
you know, and that's a huge was a very scary thing at first when I wasn't free, you know, and so with the Crush in the Cage, what we are doing is providing the vehicle and the framework that we have used and continue to use in every, lack of better words, human ailment. You know what I mean? Whether that's alcoholism, whether that's, hey, I want to be a better dad, whether that's, I'm not happy with where my life is, or I am happy and I want to be even more happy. You know what I mean? How do I develop the one thing that is the only thing I can develop, and that's me? You know, so how do I get to that place? So the beauty of everything that we're providing, like you were saying, is we will provide the vehicle that will enable you to work.
Yeah.
And then the outcome is going to be what the outcome is. But we can guarantee that the outcome through the process is personal freedom. I mean, guaranteed, because it's not a theory. It's not something we heard. It's something that we learned a long time ago and implemented those principles in our own personal lives, in military, in business. Everything that we've done, is off of this vehicle.
The coolest thing to me about this kind of time of us bringing this to everybody is that the way I think of it, I mean, me being extremely grateful to work with you guys every day, yet knowing the backstory of these principles that you guys talk about have never really been public, never really been accessible by a mass of people. So that's what's kind of exciting for me, to just be a part of the process of this getting out to everybody. Maybe you aren't an executive at a multi-billion-dollar organization. Maybe you haven't gotten to hear Scott talk. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're not on hostage rescue team for the FBI. Right. So now, like, for everybody else out there, this is something that now you guys listening have the opportunity to listen to what these guys have been talking about, to high-performing teams, to high-performing people, to elite people. And the things that they've lived on, for decades. So, I mean, that's what's been awesome. Gets me excited that now that's accessible for millions, as opposed to a select on-site group.
Absolutely. And because Tom and I, and now currently you, going through the process yourself, which I think is amazing, have done all of this, we have the experience to guide throughout as well, and through feedback and mechanisms that are in place to receive feedback, around it, the program itself, and to be able to share virtually or live at, live at some point, hey, what's my answer to this? I have one. Like, what is my answer to what does it mean to be a good dad? Because part of the crushing the cage, a big part of crushing the cage is being aware of what your cages are to begin with, and already stated that that's around some belief. And so all these areas of life that are important to you, being a mother, being a father, being a friend, being a coworker, being a leader, being a boss, being all these things, all of these things have a duty description, yes, yet you have either a vision in your mind of what right is or you don't. And if the vision of what right is nothing more than what someone else told you, you don't really believe it. And if our beliefs drive our behaviors, and they do, you're going to be behaving out of alignment from who you are. So this lack of, you have to figure out where these cages are. So ask yourself, have you ever sat down and wrote, like, hey, what is a good dad to me? I have. So if I know I'm missing the mark, it's because I say so, and I do. Yeah. And I hit the mark, and it's because I say so. What is a good leader? Same thing, right? And then exposing what do the big things in life. What do I really think and feel around sex, around marriage, around religion, around politics, around all these things that drive behavior? When's the last time you sat down and said, what is my definition of love? Because if I don't have one, how do I know if I'm loving or being loved? All this stuff's very fundamental, very simple. It taps into introspective work, right? It's a new way of thinking of stop waiting for the fucking world to make your life clear. That's a reactive mode. Yeah. Being proactive. We live in a world of cause and effect, and most people sit around waiting for other people to do things, and then they're affected by it, and that's how they make their decisions. Like, this puts you in the driver's seat. Just be the cause in your life. Trade some near-term pain, get rid of long-term suffering. These are simple things, and these are all things that, should you choose to execute the design of the course for yourself to seek your own answers, you will become more centered, which means your joy levels will be higher. You'll be able to get through the tough times and understand the purpose why. Stop blaming the world for what you didn't get, don't have, or can't be, and be able to actually own your life. That's the desired end state of us creating this product and the way of life that we have, which is crushing the cage. It's how we continue to live and challenge ourselves. It's like, no, Nate, that's a belief. That's a limit. Is it a right belief? What's outside of that? What's out over here? Right? Another thing is just getting people to think for themselves, even to the point if you disagree with us, sweet, yeah. You got your own thought. Now stand behind it. Do your own research. Like, that's a win for us. Mm-hmm. Right? Because that personal courage and authenticity is what the rarity is out there. And that's essentially what a byproduct of going through crushing the cage. Increase your level of personal authenticity. In other words, you tell the fucking truth. Yeah. Right? And become more trustworthy to yourself and others. The thing I'd hit around crushing the cage is the cool thing is a byproduct of 40 years of military experience in life, another 10 years of corporate experience in life. How many years have you been married now?
26.
26. A guy's been married 26 years. A guy that's been divorced. I've had a boy and a girl. He's got 2 boys. Combat, PTSD, alcoholism. And the reason I go through this laundry list, by the way, successful companies, epic dads, great relationships, everything that Tom and I have lived through in this long, short life of ours, right, gets poured into everything that's behind it. Mm-hmm. And that being said, everything that we are telling you we've done has worked for us through all these hard times. And it's not magic. It's not complex. It's very simple and difficult.
Absolutely. And it's the coolest thing for me about it is it's one set of tools. Like, if I have to problem solve on how to be a better dad, you know what I mean? And then I have to problem solve on how to be a better boss, and then problem solve on how to be a better brother, and then problem solve on, like, that's too much for me. You know what I mean? I'm not going to win in those scenarios. So that's why it always comes back to each of those things that I mentioned. That's why I go back to, in my words, you know what I mean? It's a vehicle. So, I mean, if I go through that process and the methodologies that we know works, no matter what the problem is, I get the results that I need without trying to figure a new solution to solve each and every little problem. This one solution handles all of them.
Yeah, because it pretty much starts out with the same question every time. What's the truth?
Yeah.
Around whatever it is. Do I know what I want? What's the
Yeah.
truth? I don't. Cool, figure it out. Don't move until you figure that piece out.
Yeah. And here's how to figure it out.
And here's how. These are the questions you should ask. This is the research you should do. These are the people you should invite into your life. These are the circles you should keep, books you should read, whatever it is, right? Until you get to that answer. Now you can have the next question.
Yeah.
I finally know what I want.
Yeah.
What is it? So on and so forth. A really cool way to filter life, a really cool way to help align priorities around things that are relevant and irrelevant, because knowing what your purpose is enables that, and you don't know what your purpose is until you figured out where the cages are and expanded into it, right? And I know what we want to invite every one of our listeners to do is to go through Crushing the Cage. Absolutely 100% challenge anyone listening to go through it. And I would also tell you, if it's not something you're really into, it's worth checking out just from a video standpoint.
Yeah, there's a bunch of good videos.
It's a bunch of great content. So if you're willing to believe in the possibility that it's worthwhile, take that willingness, move forward, and check it out. And what I believe will happen when you see what it is we're talking about and how it is we present it, you will more than likely be inspired to continue on through. When you see the beauty and simplicity of what we talk about and how to move through the steps to help create clarity in your life, I believe that you will see it's worth a shitload, right? And that is a very technical term. That's a whole bunch. Because how do you put a value on having the courage and getting the courage to walk out of a toxic relationship, or getting the courage to ask that person to marry you, or getting the courage to start that new entrepreneurial journey, or getting the courage to do whatever it is that the little voice in your head is fucking gnawing at you to do, and you yet have the courage to do, right? We believe that that's going to happen. Now that we've told you about it, if you're interested in learning more, you can gain access through what is now and forever will be known as Thrive. We would like to offer you the opportunity to subscribe to Thrive. And Thrive is a virtual place. It is a nation of free people that Tom and I have created, like we said we were going to. It is a place where you will be able to come and gain unlimited access to great high quality content as it relates to things that will help you increase power in your life, to help you gain the courage that you need. You will gain access to a community of like-minded people that will give you support through hard times, that will allow you to be who you are without judgment, a place that you will get the resources and support you need to help you achieve greater freedom in your life. Thrive. It's not about survival. It's about thriving. And thriving means consistent progress towards or the achievement of a goal because of or in spite of circumstances. That means that we have created something that in its name provides the framework for the desire that we all aspire to achieve here at Original Freedom. The Thrive membership is $20 a month to the general public. For our listeners, for your support, we want to give you guys and gals something that we know to be of great, great value for a super low price. If you're a podcast listener, and since you're listening to this, you are, go to ogfree.com/Thrive Podcast, and that's all one word, Thrive Podcast, ogfree.com/Thrive Podcast, and you will gain access to a Thrive subscription for $10 a month, half off. That's $2.50 a week. That's less than the price of a cup of coffee at Starbucks once a week. And what that gets you is access to a community of absolutely inspiring humans that are here to share with me, with you, and with all their stories, their message, their truth, their struggles, their successes. A place for you to check in, a place for you to ask questions that you cannot ask anywhere else for fear of being judged. Yet we will and have always provided a safe environment that will be the place that you have been looking for out in the personal development world. A new green pasture, a place filled with truth and authentic guidance, not bullshit rhetoric. A place where you get to be you, we get to be us, and together we get to travel through the great human experience, which is one of pain and triumph, both. If this is something that excites you, if this sounds like a place you would like to spend time, if these sound like people who would inspire you to achieve more in your life, then we invite you to join us to thrive with us in our community, in our nation of free people that is now and forever will be known as Thrive. Go to ogfree.com/Thrive Podcast, and Thrive Podcast is one word, ogfree.com/Thrive Podcast. Podcast listeners, 50% off, $10 a month, massive value, low price. Let's do it.